Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimikong.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chap. 35 Sec. 4 of Jane Eyre, an Autobiography.
S.
L.
Jane Eyre, an Autobiography. Brontë. Chap. 35 Sec. 4. While there is yet time. Remember, man shall work. Remember the fate of Dives. He had his good things in this life. He laid his hand on my head as he uttered the last words. He had spoken earnestly, mildly. His look was not, indeed, that of a lover beholding his mistress, but it was that of a pastor recalling his wandering sheep or bitter, of a guardian angel watching the soul for which he is responsible. All men of talent, whether they be men of feeling or not, whether they be zealots or aspirants, or despots, prove it only they be sincere, have their sublime moments, when they subdue and rule. I felt veneration for street, Solange, and into the gulf of his existence, and there lose my own. I was almost as hard beset by him now as I had been once before, in a different way, by another. I was a fool both times. To have yielded then would have been an error of principle. To have yielded now would have been an error of judgment. So I think at this hour, when I look back to the crisis through the quiet medium of time, I was unconscious of folly at the instant. I stood motionless under my Herfenstitch. My refusals were forgotten, me fears overcome, me wrestlings paralysed. The impossible. My marriage with Street, Joan was fast becoming the possible. All was changing utterly with a sudden sweep. Religion, cult, angels beckoned, God commanded life all together like a scrawly skates opening. Should eternity beyond? It seemed that for safety and bliss there, all who might be sacrificed in a second. The dim room was full of visions. Could you decide now? Asked the missionary. The inquiry was put in gentle tones. He drew me to him as gently. Oh, that gentleness! How far more potent is it than force? I could resist Street, John's wrath. I grew pliant as I read under his kindness. Yet I knew all the time, if I yielded now, I should not the less be made to repent. Some day, of my former rebellion. His nature was not changed by 1 hour of solemn prayer. It was only elevated. I could decide if I were but certain, I answered. Were I but convinced that it is God's will I should marry you. My prayers are heard, ejaculated Street, John. He pressed his hand firmer on my head, as if he claimed me. He surrounded me with his arm. What it was to be lived. What? Like him. I had now put love out of the question, and thought only of duty. I contended with my inward dismissive vision, before which clouds yet rolled. I slowly, deeply, fervently longed to do what was right, and only that. Show me the path, I entreated of heaven. I was excited more than I had ever been. and whether what followed was the effect of excitement the reader shall judge. All the house was still, for I believe all, except Street, John and myself, were now retired to rest. The one candle was dying out. The room was full of moonlight. My heart beat fast and thick. I heard it stir up. Suddenly it stood still to an inexpressible feeling that thrilled it through, and passed at once to my head and extremities. The feeling was not like an electric shock, but it was quite as sharp, as strange, as startling. It acted in my senses as if their utmost activity hitherto had been but torpor, from which they were now summoned and forced to wake. They rose expectant. I enervated while the flesh quivered on my bones. "What have you heard? What do you see?" asked Street. "John." I saw nothing, but I heard a voice somewhere cry, "Jane, Jane, Jane," nothing more. "Oh God, what is it?" I gasped. I might have said, "The guarding." It did not come out of the ruin or from under the earth nor from overhead. I had heard it where, or whence, forever impossible to know. And it was the voice of a human being unknown. Brontë. War remembered was the fat of Edward Fairfax Rochester, and it spoke in pain and woe. Wildly, early, urgently. "I am coming," I cried. "Wait for me." "Oh, I will come." I flew to the door and looked into the passage. It was dark. I ran out into the garden. It was void. "Where are you?" I exclaimed. The hills beyond Marsh Glen sent the answer faintly back. "Where are you?" I listened. The wind sighed low in the firs. All was lonely as a midnight hush. "Damn superstition," I commented, as that spectre rose up black by the black yew at the gate. "This is not thy deception, nor thy craft. It is the work of nature." She was roused. I broke from Street, Daniel, who had followed, and would have detained me. It was my time to assume ascendancy. My powers were in play and in force. I told him to forbear question or remark. I desired him to leave me. I must and would be alone. He obeyed at once. Where there is energy to come in well enough, obedience never fails. I mounted to my chamber, locked myself in, fell on my knees, and prayed in my way, different way to Street, John's, but effective in its own fashion. I seemed to penetrate very near a mighty spirit, and my soul rushed out in gratitude at his feet. I rose from the thanksgiving to go rest Sylvie and lay down, and sculpture. Be continued.